Senate Republicans are revving up to torch a Biden-era rule that would, if not stopped, let California play eco-dictator to the nation. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRCTV, and here's the story. As reported by Wallace White at the Daily Caller on April 5th, 2025, teams of GOP senators and congressmen are gunning to dismantle an Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, waiver that effectively greenlights California's scheme to impose a de facto electric vehicle mandate on millions of Americans, whether those consumers like it or not. This isn't just a policy spat, it's a constitutional cage match, and the stakes couldn't be higher. As I reported in December, with a flick of his pen, Amtrak Joe granted Gavin Newsom and the California Air Regulatory Bureau, CARB, an EPA waiver to phase out gasoline-powered cars, a move that's part of Sacramento's Advanced Clean Cars 2 plan. Yeah. By 2035, if California gets its way, every new car sold in the state will be electric or hydrogen powered. And thanks to the waiver, 11 other states and Washington, D.C. are poised to follow suit. Colorado, Delaware, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington all are ready to march in lockstep to this green dystopia. And since California's population is so large, many automobile manufacturers mold their output to fit the state's diktats. This means that the Golden State's poison could ripple nationwide, leaving most American consumers with little other choice. But Senator Shelley Moore Capito, a Republican of West Virginia, chair of the Environment and Public Works Committee, Friday pushed back. White notes that Capito, quote, unveiled a resolution Friday afternoon to repeal that vehicle emissions rule despite an adverse ruling from a congressional watchdog and a nonpartisan Senate official arguing the EPA waiver was not subject to the Congressional Review Act, CRA. Capito continued to argue that the California EV waivers are rules that can be repealed under the CRA in a statement Friday, end quote. And other GOP senators took their own action in order to stop a separate California attack on heavy-duty trucks and diesel vehicles. Quote, Republican Senators Deborah Fisher of Nebraska and Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma also introduced resolutions Friday to terminate California's vehicle emission rules, establishing a de facto ban on heavy-duty trucks and diesel engines. End quote. On the House side of Capitol Hill, it's been up to the GOP as well, while the Democrats remain virtually mum. Quote, House Republicans, led by John Joyce of Pennsylvania, Jay Obernolt of California, and John James of Michigan, moved forward in introducing a CRA resolution to overturn the California EV waivers Wednesday night, end quote. In fact, some Democrats didn't remain just neutral. They actively fought to perpetuate the EPA California manipulation and market strangulation. Much of the contention hinges on the capacity of the GOP senators and Congress members to employ the aforementioned CRA, a tool designed to claw back federal agency rules that overstep their statutory bounds. In December, the Supreme Court declined to hear or rule on the constitutionality of the EPA's waiver, leaving the matter to be disputed by Congress. As a result, in February, Capito and House Republicans signaled their intent to file CRA resolutions. But weeks dragged on without action. Meanwhile, Democrat Senators Alex Padilla, Sheldon Whitehouse, the charmer of Rhode Island, and the ever-lovable Adam Schiff ran to the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, to ask if the CRA could even touch the EPA's waiver. And on March 6th, the GAO said, in essence, No, claiming the waiver isn't a rule subject to CRA rollback. Capito fired back, insisting that the waiver is fair game. And she's right to fight, but the clock is ticking. And for those who care about truth, peaceful interaction, and the U.S. Constitution, the CRA fight is actually the wrong one, on the wrong battlefield. The keys are easy to see. First, there's the U.S. Constitution insulting EPA itself. This isn't just about EVs or California's green fever dreams. It's about an agency that's been a constitutional abomination since its inception in 1970. Nowhere in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution does the Congress get the power to regulate air quality or car emissions. Second, there's the carve-out granted by the feds that allows California to further crush free enterprise. Under a typical traditional view of federalism, one might think that states could produce their own rules regarding air pollution. But with the imposition of the 1967 Federal Clean Air Act, the feds eliminated that potentiality. They eliminated it save for one state. Because of smog in Los Angeles and due to heavy political pressure, the EPA granted California a special carve-out to set its own emission standards. Again, some might see this as at least a vestige of federalism. But a close analysis of the Constitution shows scholars that under a real application of constitutional standards, the state of California is not supposed to set restrictions on peaceful market activity. These kinds of prior restraint from a state government are forbidden by the U.S. Constitution's Contract Clause, which stipulates that no state government can interfere with the fulfillment of already agreed to private contracts. Similarly, the Californian demand, and any demand by any state government to find out what someone's emissions are or what a car's efficiency is, well, that's a clear breach of the Fourth Amendment because they demand information without a proper judge-issued warrant for such information. And the penalties levied against manufacturers or car users are actually punishments that are delivered without due process, which is a breach of the Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendments. Tom Pyle of the Institute for Energy Research told the Daily Caller that GOP leadership sees this as a chance to honor President Trump's pledge to restore consumer choice. Quote, "The pieces are in place," Pyle said, "and I'm confident they will deliver." End quote. Well, let's hope so, because the alternative is a nation of EV drones, courtesy of unelected bureaucrats and California nanny state overlords. But the road ahead is uncertain. The Senate parliamentarian could still throw a wrench in the CRA plan. And with Democrats dug in, the GOP needs every vote to line up. If they pull it off, they'll strike a blow against not just California's EV pipe dream, but the EPA's unchecked power grab. This isn't about hating electric cars. It's about who gets to decide, you or some faceless regulator in Washington, D.C. or California, siding with the Sacramento carbon emission elitists. In an American system of governance that aligned more closely with the U.S. Constitution, this wouldn't be a problem. The EPA wouldn't exist to push around all of us, and states also would be prohibited from doing this. But in a world where government-funded, climate cult-backed special interest catering witch hunts against carbon emissions emit lie after lie to push the unfounded notion that the use of the efficient internal combustion engine is causing an anthropogenic climate catastrophe, well, this kind of state-based clampdown on freedom often gets little attention in the pop media. It will be up to us to give it that attention and to spread the truth. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please share these videos far and wide with friends and loved ones. Find us at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org, where you can see what the whole team is doing. Check out the store, and please consider donating to the Media Research Center. Find us on Rumble, where they don't censor us, and of course at YouTube, where they are censorious. You can find us also inside Facebook. Drop some comments inside the Facebook group, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok while they're still around, and of course on X. If you want to find me on Gab, I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab, and on X you can find me as at Gard Goldsmith. I'll see you there. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.